Why am I so small? Why am I so skinny? Everything else is much bigger than me these days. It's so unfair. Nick speaking, and welcome to this video. Right, today I want to have a Necron Natter, just a little chat about Necrons. It's going to be fairly chilled. I have my coffee, so I'm just going to run with what comes to mind. And this video has been inspired by the recent tournament that I went to at WarGames. There's a link to WarGames' website and YouTube channel, etc. in the description below. Go and check them out if you haven't already. It's an awesome place to go. And there's going to be a new tournament coming up, I think around the beginning of August. So if you're interested in going to WarGames, that's a good opportunity. So yeah, at WarGames there were 4 Necron armies altogether, my one and 3 others. And I ended up playing another Necron player. And the one thing that really struck home comparing his army to mine was the size of the models. I mean, the Necron Wraiths, when I had my Wraith up against his Wraith, it was literally twice the size. It was humongous. And then the Tomb Spiders, or the Canaptic Spiders as they're now called, they're much bigger, they're huge. So things obviously progressed into bigger models, which I think we know that anyway. You know, the bases are getting bigger, the models are getting bigger. The reason for that, I don't know. But certainly everything is getting bigger. I suppose it just looks more impressive on the table. But it's always been the way. I mean, just looking at other armies, like for example the Eldar units. If you look at some of their older models, say the Dark Reapers, you know, they're really small. Then you've got the newer Dark Reapers, which are, you know, bigger. So, you know, it's happening. It's always happened. But of course, what I also noticed was how small our big models are. I'm talking specifically about the Catan. There was one Necron player there that had a Catan, and it just looked ridiculous on the table. You know, you had all these other armies with Imperial Knights in there, and all these flying Hive Tyrants and stuff, and then you've got this Catan, a Necron Guard. Okay, the shard of a Necron Guard, but surely it should be much bigger. And that really got me thinking about all the new latest releases that Games Workshop are doing. I mean, let's have a look at Magnus the Red, which has just come out. I mean, that's another huge model. And I'm thinking, isn't it about time that our Catans got new models, much bigger units, and arguably much better stats, because the Catan stats have gone downhill quite a lot from certainly what they were. I mean, at one point you had to have permission from your opponent to play a Catan. That's how awesome they were. And then they rejiggled it around. I thought that when they rejiggled it so that it was the Catan Shard originally, it was quite playable. I liked how they did it. But I'm finding the new Catan Shards with their random powers to be very ineffective most of the time. They're fun, they're very fun to play, and they do work, but they're not the best, let's say. So yeah, that got me thinking, isn't it about time that we had a big Necron model? I mean, the Catans are the ones that stand out, obviously, but of course would love to have other stuff. A Necron Knight. I mean, obviously, I know you can take an Imperial Knight and you can convert it into a Necron version. I've seen a few people do that using a Terminator-like figure, and then converting that into a Knight. Looks pretty cool. But if you're like me, I'm a bit of a purist. I prefer to use my actual Necron Codex rather than using different factions and allies and stuff. I like my Necron Codex. So wouldn't it be great if we got either a new Necron model, a new big Necron model, and at least have the Catans upgraded in the model itself, the size of the model and the stats of the model. Now, I'm very interested to hear what you think about this. Do you think it's going to happen? Maybe there's something in the pipeline already, who knows? But I think it's definitely something which I think it should happen for Necrons. Necrons need something big. One thing about Necrons, I know everybody says Necrons are overpowered. I've already said this before, I don't think they are overpowered. I think Necrons are very good. I think Necrons are very resilient. I think the Decorion makes Necrons what Necrons should be. Very difficult to kill. I mean, outside of the Decorion, they are still very good and they're very usable. I mean, I proved that with that tournament that I went to with a list outside of the Decorion. And out of the 4 Necron players there, I was came top out of the 4, and they were all using Decorions. So you don't have to be locked into the Decorion. But yeah, I still think that Necrons aren't overpowered. Now, would a new model, like a new Catan with greater stats, make them overpowered? I don't know. I mean, Magnus the Red, he's 600 points. I think 600 is it, or 800? I'm not sure exactly, but it's a lot of points. So, you know, obviously if we get a big model, it's going to have the appropriate points to it. So I think it will even itself out all over the place. But just from a Necron player point of view, I just think it's about time we had something which is, you know, really good. I mean, you know, Tau Riptide sort of quality, wouldn't that be awesome to have? I'm not talking about something ridiculously cheesy and overpowered and like 3 Catans joined in a unit, like 100 shots. I'm just talking about like a single model which can compete with a Wraith Knight or a Tau Storm Surge or Riptide or whatever. Just our own big model. So that's really the nuts of what this video was about. Just a chat about the Necrons and a bigger model. So what do you think? Do you think Necrons need a bigger model? Do you think we will have a bigger model? And if we do, what sort of stats would you like to see from a bigger model? Personally, and I've always said this about Catans, personally, I would like to see better movement for starters. Now, if they gave our Catans the gargantuan creature stats, then obviously it would be automatically made faster. We'll be moving 12 inches. The problem that we have with our Catans at the moment, okay, you can do some trickery with a Cryptic and Veil of Darkness, but the main problem is that they only move 6 inches, and they've only got 4 wounds, and they've only got a 4+ invulnerable save. It's incredibly easy, even with the toughness, to take a Catan down. But if they had some speed, 12-inch movement, that would be awesome. The ability to phase in and out would be great. I'm sort of thinking if you could deep strike them every turn, how cool would that be? And that would sort of maybe sort of put the fluff on that they are these gods which can phase in and out of existence. I think that might be pretty cool if they were able to deep strike maybe every turn, possibly, or maybe twice or even once. But I've always said that about Catans, the main letdown is their speed. I think I personally would like to see more wounds. I think they need 6 wounds. I think they should have a standard 3+ save, with possibly the 4+ invulnerable. Just something to make them a little bit more survivable. I'm not talking about points wise. I mean, if they have that and the points go up, fair enough. But they definitely need something better than they have. And the random powers, I think that you should have, and if they're going to do it random, fair enough, but there's random and there's random. They're so random that you don't know if you're going to get a vehicle killer or an infantry killer. If you want to make them random, how about making them random at the beginning of the game? So you a bit like psychic powers. You roll for your powers before the game, you find out which 2 powers you have, and you run with those for the game. Fair enough, it's random still, but at least you've got something to work with. having to pick a target and then roll to see what power you've got makes them very unreliable. You know, you pick a unit of orcs and then you roll, I've got Thunderbolt, one shot. You know, and then if you try and pick a tank and then you roll something which is infantry, a big blast that's going to kill infantry, probably can't really hurt a tank. You know, so it's just too random. It's too random. So that needs sorting out for sure. So I think movement, more wounds, slightly better save. I mean, a 4+ invulnerable save is actually pretty good. But I just think it needs something a little extra, possibly. I mean, again, if it was gargantuan creature, it would have the feel no pain, so that could work. 4+ invulnerable and the feel no pain, but it definitely needs something extra, I think. So just a little natter about the Catan, about bigger models. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the video. I really am looking forward to your feedback and comments on this subject. So yeah, let's have it. Thanks for watching.